I'm sure lots of YouTubers have made videos reviewing Candace Against the Universe, the sequel to the first Phineas and Ferb movie, Across the Second Dimension. I'm sure that lots of YouTubers have made videos reviewing the Lego Movie 2, the second part, the sequel to the Lego Movie. But today, I'm doing something unusual and making a video about both at once. You see, recently I watched both movies within a few months of each other, and I couldn't help but notice some similarities between the two. I'm hoping that by making comparisons between them, I can help you to learn more about them both. This video isn't for people who haven't seen either movie, there will be spoilers. Lego Movie 2. This movie picks up right where the first movie left off, where Bricksburg is being attacked by Duplo creatures. Then we fast forward 2 years to when Bricksburg has been reduced to rubble and the citizens reduced to thieving brutes. Anything pretty is quickly found and destroyed by the alien spaceships. In an effort to keep Lucy's spirits up, Emmett builds a nice house. Then a spaceship appears and frightens everyone, but rather than attack immediately, the pilot, who along with the other Duplo monsters has evolved into a mini doll, takes 5 hostages: Lucy, Benny, Metalbeard, Unikitty, and Batman, leaving Emmett behind. She takes them to her Queen whatever wannabe, apparently. Sorry, I forgot her name. She sings a creepy villain song and then offers to give them whatever they want, which everyone accepts except Lucy. Meanwhile, Emmett goes after them to rescue them, but nearly dies on the way before being rescued by a guy named Dangervest, sorry, I forget his name too. Anyway, this dude starts teaching Emmett how to be tough and strong so he can rescue his friends. Meanwhile, Queen Whatever starts playing this disco pop thing that gets everyone on her side, except Lucy, who gets away. She meets Emmett, and they make a plan to rescue everyone. But then Lucy learns that the creepy song actually meant that Queen Whatever actually likes them and wants to help them, but before she can tell Emmett, he destroys the palace. This triggers Armageddon, which is basically the kid's real-life mother putting the Legos away because the kids keep fighting over them. At the same time, Rex tells Emmett that he's actually Emmett himself, but from the future, after he learned to be strong and self-reliant when his friends didn't help him out of a fix. Then as the minifigs make friends with the mini-dolls, Emmett learns that being kind is more important than being strong, and forgives Rex as he dissolves into nothing. The movie ends with the brother and sister playing happily together. Against the Universe, it begins with Candace telling Stacy about her frustration at never being able to bust Phineas and Ferb, when both of them are suddenly abducted by aliens. Stacy escapes, and Candace is taken to see the alien leader named Super Duper Big Doctor? Sorry, I forget her name too. She tells Candace that she wants her because of some special ability she has, and the two of them go off to hang out together. At the same time, Phineas, Ferb, and their friends team up with Doofenshmirtz and head off to rescue Candace and Stacy. They find Stacy, but Candace says she wants to stay there because she's finally accepted by someone. Then after they leave, the doctor tells Candace that she really only wanted her to feed a plant since she exhales carbon dioxide. The doctor uses this plant to control the cowards, who are the other inhabitants of the planet. Then she locks Candace up and goes to take the plant to Earth so she can take over the humans. Phineas and Ferb rescue Candace and go to Earth and stop the doctor. But then the plant turns into this huge monster thing and destroys half the city before Candace gets rid of it. Then everyone sings a happy song and the movie's over. Before I'd like to talk about anything else, I'd like to briefly touch on the music in both of these movies. Phineas and Ferb is, well, Phineas and Ferb, so you should expect Candace Against the Universe to have plenty of great songs just like the original movie. And it kind of does, but while Across the Second Dimension songs are almost all good, and some are amazing, Candace Against the Universe's songs are mostly mid. I think it had, one really good song, The Universe Against Me, which, as I mentioned in this video, was cut from the movie. You see a little snippet of Candace and Stacy, but then it's over in a few seconds and it only fully appears in the credits. The Lego Movie isn't known for its music except for Everything is Awesome. The Lego Batman movie is getting more musically focused with songs such as Friends or Family. The Lego Movie 2, on the other hand, was turned into a full-on musical. It only has a few songs, but most of them are good. Catchy Song is unironically catchy, Not Evil is unironically a great villain song, and Gotham City Guys was kinda weird, and it had a bunch of pop culture references, and it wasn't very good. But it had Batman rapping, so that's something. Oh yeah, and there is also this remix of Everything is Awesome with a bit of catchy song thrown in. So yeah. Themselves. In the Lego Movie 2, I would say that the twist in the movie is basically if you mash together the one in Lightyear with the one in Captain Marvel. And we all know how those movies turned out. It's like Lightyear because the villain turns out to be a future version of the hero, but it's also like Captain Marvel because the original villains turn out to be completely good, thus making the viewers confused and unable to take the entire rest of the movie seriously. I mean it when I say that I can understand why so many people hate twist villains simply from watching this movie. Remember when I said Not Evil was a great villain song? Well, that's only when you take it out of context. The song lies at the hub of possibly the worst twist in a movie I've ever seen, and there's no coming back from that. Just like in Captain Marvel, the Queen goes from being completely evil to completely good in 30 seconds and without any kind of character transition. They're simply expected to believe that her actions in the third act of the movie were consistent with her actions in the second act, and despite how much the movie shoves it in your face, you never fall for it. The same can be said for the side characters, who are so incredibly stupid in this movie I can't even begin to describe it. The way they fall for that stupid song right away is simply unbelievable. They were always a little stupid in their own way, but this is something else. But we'll talk more about that later. Right now we need to talk about Candace against the Universe. This movie doesn't have all the massive problems with its plot that the Lego Movie 2 has. In fact, it's pretty tame in comparison. It's just a movie about Candace learning to stop obsessing about busting her brothers and instead focusing on better values. The main problem I have with this movie is how much of a disappointment it was. You see, I really expected it would be a lot better than it actually was. Candace is the most relatable character in all Phineas and Ferb, except for Doofenshmirtz, of course, and the show treats her like a complete joke. So I thought, in a movie that focuses on her, she would get treated with more respect. And she kind of did. That scene where she reconciles with Phineas and Ferb is really sweet, but it kind of feels empty and abstract to me. Ever since I started watching Phineas and Ferb, the parts with Candace trying to bust her brothers were by far my least favorite scenes. I was like, why does she fail so often? It makes no sense. Is this supposed to be a joke? Because she doesn't just fail in that one aspect, which you could say is a kind of karma for her shallow motives. No, she's unlucky in all kinds of things. Like when a party spirals out of her control, or when she gets laughed at for liking Ducky Momo, or when a wave comes and only she gets wet. You seriously believe that fate is turned against her. When I heard the idea of Milo Murphy's Law, I was like, oh, that's literally Candace. Seriously, does Candace have Murphy's Law? Is Candace a Murphy? I have so many questions. Anyway, that means that when The Universe is Against Me comes along, you expect the movie to be about Candace finding out why she's fated to be such a failure and what she can do about it. Instead, you get a generic movie about an alien abduction, which I really don't get what it has to do with the universe being against her. In some ways, the song The Universe is Against Me is a metaphor for the entire movie, in that it sounds like it's going to be something epic, but ends up being a complete disappointment. Sure, Candace learns her value in the end, but that doesn't change anything about her situation, especially now that season 5 is coming out and things go right back to what they were before. That's another similarity between the two movies, the messages. The Lego Movie 2 says that it's better to be loving and forgiving than to be tough and strong. Candace Against the Universe says that you should value yourself for who you are instead of trying to destroy other people's happiness. Both of these messages are fine by themselves, but they're pretty much ruined by the context of the movies, instead of supported by them as you'd expect. In the Lego Movie 2, you're constantly confused, not just about the plot, but more importantly about the characters. As I said, most of the movie characters are... In the Lego Movie 2, you're constantly confused, not just about the plot, but more importantly about the characters. As I said, most of the characters are incredibly stupid in this movie, and we shouldn't forget that they abandoned Emmett to die. While they were off dancing. While they were off dancing and having fun, Emmett was dying on an alien planet, and Lucy was trying to rescue them. Except the movie acts as if what she was doing was wrong, when it's the only thing that makes any sense. Oh, Lucy, why did you worry so much about protecting everyone when you can just have fun? That's the thing. I think that in the end, the messages of these movies are similar too. They both say that having fun is the only thing that matters in life, not rescuing people or solving problems like Lucy and Candace do. They say that the only constant partying, like in the Lego Movie 2, or natural talent, like in Phineas and Ferb, can bring true happiness and success. Everyone else is stuck in frustration and failure. Let's hope that's not the world we live in, everyone. In Candace Against the Universe. Now let's talk about the movies themselves.